Wreck My Podcast.
Who doesn't love some action figures? Well, these action figures are not gonna love you back. We watch Small Soldiers this week and ask ourselves the real important questions, like what are you doing, David Cross?
Wreck My Podcast.
Welcome to Wreck My Podcast, where this week we were led astray by another podcast. We were told on the Elite 8 Showdown podcast, they said, hey, Small Soldiers, that movie, it holds up. I don't think they actually remembered this movie when they made that statement, but we watched it anyway because we're suckers. We're a good mark to prove them wrong. But I'm here with my guest this week. They call him Miss Kegel. It's Gregor.
Too bad. This would have been a really one hell of a commercial.
Well, there you go. And I'm here with my other guest. World War II is his favorite war. It's Joe.
No mercy.
And then I'm your host. My name is Jordan. Now shut up. And we're Wreck My Podcast. Cam was supposed to be on this week.
Jordan, now shut up.
No, it's just Jordan.
Hello,
you know what's funny? Okay, we'll get into it later. But I think what's the funniest part of this whole thing is that I fell for the classic bait and switch that Elite 8 Showdown does, where they just make statements that have no factual evidence in reality whatsoever. And then they just keep doing that all the time. And so the whole reason that we watched this is because they mentioned it on their podcast. And they were like, yeah, that holds up. And I was like, man, I remember that movie, but I don't remember a lot about it. I just remember having seen it at some point in my life. So let's rewatch that. And man, that was a thing we did. And we're going to talk about it now. That's what we do. All right, so let's get into Jordan Explains the movie real quick. And then we'll talk a little bit more about it.
Oh yes, it's time for Jordan to explain the movie quickly.
Globotech buys a toy company and tells them to make toys that move on their own and play back. So they make the Commandos and their arch nemesis, the Gorgons. Because of the time crunch, they make the toys using military microchips, and this gives them the ability to do a little more than recite a few phrases. The Commandos are activated and are searching out the Gorgonites to kill them. Our main teenage protagonist has some of the toys early and befriends a Gorgonite toy. The toy war spills into the real world, and Alan is now being targeted by the Commandos. After the Commandos take Alan's friend hostage, he decides to fight back and save his friend. Although Alan may have won the battle, the war is still on because Chip Hazard found a huge toy store and is recruiting a whole army. The army of Commandos are now attacking Alan and his family, but the humans and the Gorgons win by making an EMP. Now Alan can date Kirsten Dunst. All right, so my question for you guys is, Joe,
Have you seen this before?
Have you seen this before?
Yeah. Actually, I used to own this on VHS. I used to love
dang.
this movie.
Dang.
I watched it all the time.
So Joe's the real pro here. He's the he got the expertise in the Small Soldiers. And then Krager, how about you? Have you seen this one before?
I actually have not. I thought I did, but
Wow.
after watching, I'm like, oh, I've never
You
seen
realized
this.
it was
I've
Toy
just
Story
seen-
that you saw?
I've just seen, I've just seen like bits and pieces on the TV here and there, not even like 25% of the movie.
Now, do you guys remember the Burger King tie-in with this movie and the toys for the?
Not
It was
really.
the kids club, not the kids meal, but it was like. So Burger King, I don't know if they still have it. I haven't been to Burger King in a really long time because I'm not masochistic. But
Burger King is trash.
it is super trash. One of my least favorite of all the fast food places.
We're not raccoons.
No, exactly. But I mean, where else are you going to get a Hercules plate though?
And a
But anyway,
Whopper.
I remember that they had a thing where they had their kids meal and then they had something in between the kids meal and the regular food. And I think it was called like the kids club. And it was meant for more like preteens where it was slightly bigger, but then it would be like, it had like a magazine. And I think they had like N64s in like the gaming area and like the play places of Burger King's, but it was like meant to be more geared up. And so I remember Small Soldiers was actually one of like Jurassic Park, Small Soldiers, like more of the PG-13, but like light PG-13 movies were kind of geared towards those kids' meals. Do you guys remember that at all?
I have no memory of this Burger King mission at all.
Oh man, wow. Okay, well,
But I
You sure you
do
didn't
have
make
to
it up?
say,
I might have made it up, might have dreamt it. I don't know.
I actually mildly enjoyed this movie.
Oh, really? That was my next question. If
Yeah.
you liked it, so Krager, you liked this movie?
I actually didn't. I mean, it wasn't like awesome, but like the parts I watched, my storyline isn't terrible. Like the plot line isn't terrible, and it's got a lot of great acting talent. So,
What about you, Joe? What did you think?
Well, as I said, I love this movie as a kid, and I don't know if it was strictly nostalgic or because there are parts in it where I'm like, this is kind of dumb,
Mhm.
but it has to be purely nostalgic because I absolutely loved rewatching it.
Okay, wow. Okay, so you two both really enjoyed this one. So I guess my my shtick up top doesn't really hold true here of being like, oh man, this movie is really awful. Because here's the thing, I've only seen this movie once before. I don't remember when I watched it. I know I saw it because I was remembering a lot of the parts while I was watching it. But this is how I felt. This movie felt to me like a Disney Channel original movie that got
Oh my gosh,
released
it's
in theaters.
totally like a Disney Channel original movie.
Yeah,
It even
yeah.
has the kid from Phantom of the Megaplex in it.
I know, right? It does. The little the little brother of Kirsten Dunst is the little brother.
and wasn't
in Phantom of the Megaplex.
wasn't that the kid from Halloween Town or
No.
No, that wasn't. He wasn't.
He's not in Halloween Town. I want to say he was like in an episode of like So Weird or Are You Afraid of the Dark? I think is what it is.
It was
I'm
Are You
almost
Afraid of the Dark he was on,
I'm
yeah.
almost positive we saw something recently with the main character in it.
The main kid, Alan?
Yeah.
Xenon, Girl of the 21st Century. He's the like crush. Xenon's
Yeah,
crush
that's
on
right.
Earth.
That's right.
Yep.
All I know is I'm like, I've seen this kid before.
Yep, that's well. I mean, he's in that. He's in Are You Afraid of the Dark? He's in Harriet the Spy. He's in
He
The
was-
Patriot.
He was very. Oh yeah, the middle child in the
Mhm.
Patriot who had the lead toy soldiers.
Yes.
He was like as a kid watching because I watched so many Disney Channel original movies. You would see a lot of the same faces and recognize them. He's one of those faces, one of those actors where as a kid I always recognized him. I was like, oh, it's that guy.
Yep, exactly.
Yep.
He was in a lot of things that we watched as kids, that's for sure. So he popped up a bunch. You know what's funny about this movie too? I didn't know who the audience was for, right? So like, this is a PG-13 movie that could have easily been PG. You tweak 2 or 3 scenes, easily
Yes.
could have been PG.
What made it PG-13?
The fact that there's violence in it, even though you don't really see any blood, it was just because there was no cursing, there was no like
No.
sexual content, there was a little bit of like drug and alcohol talk.
Yeah, there's a little
Um,
bit. They drug the drinks.
Yeah,
on the
exactly. And
parents.
then there was
Yeah.
like the whole violence part of them just like kind of shooting corn cob holders
and into
whatnot.
his leg. Okay.
Yeah, like so it was a very very mild PG-13.
That's very dumb of PG-13.
But this is what's
If you're
weird
under
to me.
13, you can watch this.
Oh, totally.
I did.
But this is what's super weird to me about this movie.
And you turned
It's
out
not for
yourself.
adults. I don't feel like it was marketed for adults. It wasn't marketed towards kids. It wasn't marketed as a comedy, and it wasn't really marketed as an action film. I'm like, what is this movie? Like, where does this lie? Like, what is this supposed to be?
I will say, Kate watched it with me, and it was the first time ever hearing about it. She had never seen
Oh.
it before. And then afterwards, she was like, I actually really liked it. I thought it was
Yeah.
great.
You know what I will say about this movie? That they did an amazing job. Stan Winston's workshop, man, hit his workers and everything there. They killed it when it came to all the like moving parts.
Yeah,
because some of
parts.
it was CG because
For
we're in
mo-
the.
You can
I was
tell when
gonna-
it was.
Mhm.
I was gonna say for the time that came out, I thought that was really good special effects.
It's great. It's great special effects because the majority of it is practical, and it looks good because they're supposed to be plastic toys that move around, and they look like plastic toys that move around.
You
I think
totally
they
could
did a
have
great
done
job.
the entire. Oh yeah, they definitely did. You could have done the entire toy mechanics through stop motion.
Mm-hmm. Which I assume they did stop motion in this, but it looked so smooth.
It's
that
too smooth that I don't think it is stop motion.
I don't think so either. That's why I was like,
I think it really
what did
was
they do?
robotic mouths and the little dolls.
It could be. It
All
could be.
small animatronics.
they're action figures.
They're action figures. With karate chop action. that they do on their own. Yeah, so that's good you guys like this movie. I wasn't a huge fan of it. I kind of like got a little bored with it. I don't have the nostalgia factor of it because I've only seen it once, and I was happy that we watched it because of all the things I said with, like the Stan Winston stuff. The cast of this movie is awesome. We'll talk about a few of them later,
Huge.
but
The only thing that annoyed me in this movie is when they're like attacking them before they had, like their weapons and chainsaws and fireball throwers and all that stuff. Before they had any of that and they were attacking the humans, my entire thought is these are toys, right? Just like kick them.
yeah, I know.
Do something.
Yeah. Well, here's two things that I'll say off the top here. One, EMPs are not that easy to make, so that was pretty ridiculous.
Have you ever tried it?
Well, I'm gonna say no, just in case the FBI's listening. But the other thing I was noticing the whole time, one, these are action figures, like you said. Action figures do not weigh a lot. They are like holding things that weigh like a good 5 to 10 pounds. They wouldn't be able to like have the infrastructure
100%.
to hold certain things they were holding.
Even if they can, the speed that they would have to yield these at is going to be so slow. You can easily, even if they're like raising their wrists to strike down on you with a knife, you can easily just hit them out of the way before they even come down on it. Even still, if they do come down, it's not going to really barely break the skin, maybe.
No.
Well, what's funny is like watching it, I just totally bought into it. And then you guys saying it right now is like, the biggest thing they said is when they're talking about how he made them and they figure out it was a chips, is everything was used standard that way you make for all toys.
Yeah, it's all plastic.
The chip is the only thing that wasn't standard. So the chip
Where's their
doesn't make them
strength coming
stronger.
from?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
No,
that's
they
a good
can't get
point.
stronger. And then here's the other thing I noticed too, where halfway through the movie, I'm like, wait a sec, this makes no sense. So like these toys are supposed to be really smart and they're building things, right? And there was a moment when they're like putting all the like vehicles together. One of the toys had a tiny blowtorch. Not a regular sized blowtorch. They somehow were able to find toy-sized functioning tools all over the place. And I'm like, this is not realistic.
That was my question too. Like while watching it and they're attacking the houses and stuff, I'm like, where are they getting all these fireworks?
Yeah. Like, not only, and did you notice too, when they blow up the Gorgonite box that they think they're all in there, they have tiny sticks of dynamite, little tiny sticks of dynamite.
That's just like
I
an
was thinking
M80
those
or
were
something.
like firecrackers is what I was thinking. Those
Maybe.
were. So I'm like,
That's an M80.
yeah, that's what I was thinking. I was thinking they're M80s and like bottle rockets. But even still, where are they getting all these fireworks?
Yeah, my favorite thing is the tiny blowtorch. I just love it. It's like, who made this tiny? A blowtorch for a hamster. Like,
The biggest thing for me is at the end when Hugh Laurie is like,
Hugh Laurie.
that's the guy who plays.
That's not Hugh Laurie.
It's not
Hugh Laurie's from House.
Yeah, that's Hugh Laurie's house and Stuart Little.
I just read his name and didn't really pay attention.
Who are you talking about? Hugh Grant.
No, hold on.
The main guy's father or Kirsten Dunst's father?
No, I'm sorry, Dennis Leary.
Oh, Dennis Leary. Yes.
Yeah, Hugh Laurie, Dennis Leary. Same thing.
Same guy.
When he's all like, get in contact with the military, like we want to send these to someplace. I'm like, now that's a movie I want to watch.
Oh yeah, because that's like just drones, right? That's
Throw
just like
those things in
unmanned
warfare.
That's Terminator.
Yeah,
I was all
that's-
like, let's go. I'm down.
I know,
with that.
right? Okay, so as we're talking about it, I will say I was looking up like some fan theory stuff, and I didn't really find anything. But one thing I did notice is that this movie has gotten a lot more respect in recent years because it was well ahead of its time in kind of commenting on militarization and the greed of capitalism. And it really is kind of subtle for the 90s where now we are at that point. Like this idea of like Globotech is like, no, we have Amazon, we have Disney, we actually have these companies.
Am I the only person? Am I the only person who kept thinking Globo Gym?
Globo Gym? Like,
yes, you were the only one.
Yeah, you were the only
Dodgeball.
one. Didn't even cross my mind.
Every time they showed the logo and said it, like it was a similar logo. I'm like, Globo Gym.
Yeah, it's funny how in the 90s, like every big conglomerate corporation had Globe in the name or like World in the name or something. It's great.
Gregor is right, though. I mean, even the concept of these toys wielding weapons and causing this mayhem is a little ridiculous, but he's right. You totally buy into it.
Yeah, it's true. And it is a good commentary on like the idea of where we would go when it comes to consumption. But the one thing that didn't land is the idea of the internet in the 90s and where future technology is
Yeah.
going to take us. Every 90s movie has it wrong, right? Like
Yeah.
these things are like technically an AI with a microprocessing chip that's supposed to be able to like pull in a lot of information, and you're like sitting there with like the next button going to the next web screen real slowly. And I'm like, what are they doing?
Well, only the Gorgonites were able to learn because it was part of their programming.
No, even
The
the
commandos weren't able to learn. They were just stuck on their actual programming of destroying the Gorgonites and their allies.
No, I'm pretty sure the commandos could learn too, because they said that the thing about the chip was that it continually learned, and they all had
Yeah.
the chip, just they were
And they got
programmed
more-
for different
they got-
functions.
Yeah, they got more dangerous as
But
the movie went on.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the problem isn't the chip. The problem is the software.
Well, the Gorgonites kept learning for knowledge, where the commandos kept learning to destroy.
Destroy the
Kill.
Gorgonites, yeah.
Yeah,
Which
yeah.
is funny.
Yep. So the other thing too, I thought was like super funny was Kirsten Dunst had like this sweet phone headset, right?
I saw that too. I was like, look at
It
that
reminded me
headset.
of what I had Krager test out earlier in the week to see if we were going to be doing headsets or not. And I'm like, I'm so glad. I kind of wish we would have done it for this episode, because it would have been synergy.
I was
It would have been
thinking,
told. I put it on. I'm all like, I feel like I need to sell someone a credit card right now.
I was thinking she's way ahead of the curve on the whole working at home thing.
Yeah, she is. Also, this is how in like a 90s kid-centric movie, they're like, you know, this girl's complex because she collects dolls, but also likes Led Zeppelin. Which is funny. Led Zeppelin, I guess, is historically very protective over their music when it comes to movies and commercials. And this is one of the few movies that they've actually allowed licensing of one of their songs into the movie, which I'm like, this is a weird
What
one to
song
kind of
was
like,
it?
do 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 do. No, was it? It played when the Gwendolyn dolls were like beating up Kirsten Dunst's character. I forget what song. Black Dog.
Was
I
it
think
Black
it was.
Dog?
I think it was. It was one of their really popular songs. One of their more rock and rollish sounding songs. No, yeah, it might have been that one. It
I don't
wasn't
know if it was
Ramble
that
On.
one.
I can't remember which one it was. It was a popular one. So the other thing I thought was really funny is they implanted tiny cameras into their eyes, which, if you're gonna do that, they showed you like visual of what their eyesight looked like. It was pretty crappy.
Was that an actual camera in there? I thought that was just like a filming aesthetic.
Well, it's supposed to
Like-
show you what they're seeing, so I assume.
Yeah, but
The Led Zeppelin song was Communication Breakdown.
There you go, communication
They
breakdown.
also had a Rush song and a Queen song.
What
yeah,
Rush
they
song?
did have Queen. I
I
remember.
don't
Tom
remember
Sawyer.
Rush.
Tom Sawyer.
Tom Sawyer was in there. When the heck did that play?
Don't know. I'm just on the IMDb's.
Were they slapping the bass?
Slapping the bass.
Yeah, so I thought that was funny. Also, like, these commandos are like MacGyver on crack. Like, they're somehow they created a way to Frankenstein like the Gwendolyn dolls with a muffin tin.
I know.
This is the weirdest stuff.
Also, did you look up who voiced the dolls?
I did. You want to tell me who they were right now?
Are we gonna jump into the cast section?
I mean, we won't jump straight into it. Just tell us who voiced them.
Christina Ricci and Sarah Michelle Gellar.
That's right.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I actually couldn't pick their voices out. I didn't know this until I looked it up later.
The only
I
voice
looked
that you
it up
can
right before.
The only voice I was clearly able to pick out was Tommy Lee Jones.
Oh yeah, Tommy Lee Jones
yeah.
was like slapping you in the face the whole movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, how can you not know this is
Yeah.
Tommy Lee Jones?
Dude,
So
he has such a
crazy.
great voice.
So they state that the toys can't feel in this movie, right? At one point they're like, "Oh, you can't feel anything. You're a toy. You're plastic." But the whole movie, every time the commandos get hurt, they're always like,
And
"Ow,
like-
oh, ow!" I'm like,
and they're like, I'm in rough shape,
Yeah.
Sarge.
like
I
you
think
shouldn't
that's
be able to
that-
feel.
That's just got to be the programming.
It must be the programming. Yeah, it's like in your brain, like it's just pushing that spot that tells you you're hurt, but you're not actually hurt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like they can't actually feel it, but their chip is telling them, you should be feeling pain right now.
Yeah, so that's very complex. That's a weird thing
Oh,
to
yeah.
put into a military chip. I'll tell you that. I guess all the toys can be turned into moving toys, right? So like the whole idea of like this toy is it's supposed to be like be able to move on its own like stiffly and stuff, but then all of a sudden they're just like able to articulate, right? Like have full body function of all over the place, like not 10 points of articulation, like 100. And I'm just like,
well, you can also put that back to the learning thing. They're watching the people around them.
But what I'm saying is if my arm is made out of like metal, or my arm is like a bone right here, I can't just decide to turn the middle of my forearm.
They were only
90
turning on the
degrees.
joint. They're only turning on the joints, but I get what you're
guess.
They're ball joints.
Just you're becoming too nitpicky.
These are just things I'm noticing. Well, this is the point. I'm not being nitpicky. I get it. It's a movie. It's outlandish. It's there. It's fine. These are just things I'm noticing while I'm doing it.
I'm almost like, man, I want them to redo this movie so badly now.
It would be
I
pretty
don't even
funny
think
now.
they even need to redo it.
No, it actually holds up pretty well when it comes to, which I know I just said Elite Eight Showdown led us wrong there, and I'm saying the same exact thing. But
I
it
would
does
actually
hold
agree
up.
with the Elite 8 Showdown.
It does
holds
actually
up.
hold up. It doesn't hold up to me in entertainment value, but it holds up to me in like actual like development and production value.
And
Joe and Tim, it holds up for me.
Joe
I'm
and Tim,
contract-
Chuck and Tim.
Chuck and Tim.
I am
say Joe?
contractually
Yeah.
yeah, you did. I am contractually obligated to say still better than Parents.
Oh yes, he always
You
has
didn't
to
watch
bring it.
Parents.
Yep,
From what I saw of Parents,
Yep, all the 10 minutes he saw Parents before he fell asleep.
I saw at least 45 minutes.
That's true, but you didn't make it to the good part. That's the problem.
You're right, because there is no good part.
There you go. Set you up. Okay, so the toy company, I guess, didn't do any testing. I guess that makes sense. They were supposed to like rush these things out and stuff like
Yeah.
that. But I was like, you wouldn't even like take one off the conveyor belt and just like test it out a little bit. I don't know. That seems a little weird to me.
Especially when the whole idea was a toy that'll play back.
Yeah, exactly. You want to make sure that it's actually going to like talk back to you and stuff like that. But I don't know.
See nowadays it kind of came to fruition because now adults buy toys that can play back. Sex doll joke.
I wonder if this idea of toys that will play back was part of the thinking for Furby.
Oh, totally. 100%. Furby was right around this time. Yeah.
God, Furbies saving lives.
What came first, small soldiers or Furby?
Well, I'm pretty sure Furby came first, like a little bit before this. I want to say
Furby craze.
Furby craze, yeah. So the greatest line in this whole movie is at the very end when the truck driver guy, it just says, "Toys is hell."
That's
like,
what he says?
Toys is hell. I'm just like, what is this? Who wrote this line? I thought
Furbies
it was great, though.
came out the same year this movie was released.
Oh, nice. Okay, so art imitating life. That's very, very cool. The last thing I want to mention here is they did have did you guys go to the very, very end of the credits?
I did
Didn't know-
actually.
I didn't think this was a Marvel movie. So no.
They had a nice little
Like blooper.
dedication. Yeah, a little dedication to Phil Hartman because this was the last movie he was ever in before he tragically passed away, which I didn't know how he died until I did research for this movie. I had no idea he was murdered by his wife. I had no
Oh,
idea.
jeez.
Yeah. I guess she was
What?
like had some mental problems or something, and like she killed him, and then
She
like
hated this movie.
maybe I don't know, but she killed him and then like killed herself like a few hours later. Like I'm like, oh my gosh,
Wow.
I did not know Phil Hartman died in that crazy of a way.
She went all Chris Benoit.
She did not. His wife did not have a heart, man.
No, I don't know what the heck was going on. Nice Hartman joke. But yeah. So that was nice. That was a nice little dedication to him because he is a super funny guy.
I totally
Yes.
remember watching this, and when the assistant first introduces herself, I turned to Kate and I went, Geagle?
Yep, I know. I was like, what? That's definitely got to be like one of the jokes, right? Like someone purposely put that in there. That's not just a random name. So since Cam couldn't be on, and he is the auteur of our podcast when it comes to film, he wanted to send in a little clip here that gave his professional analysis of this movie. So I'm going to put that in right now.
How'd they make those soldiers so small?
Good. That was great, Cam. Yeah, that was very
that's a good
good
question.
points. Yeah, good question,
Good
good
job.
points. Yeah, that was very in-depth analysis of this movie.
I really have no idea how they made them so small.
Me neither. Nope. No one knows. I think Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, the same technology.
Same universe.
Yeah, Zelensky was
Gotcha.
there. So so let's talk about when this movie came out and who's in it. July 10th, 1998. So that's summer movie. That's right, summer blockbuster time. It had a $40 million budget and it grossed 54 million. So I wouldn't say this is.
I thought would do better than that.
Yeah, this wasn't a real critical success or anything. But what's cool is it made a little bit of money. What's cool is it was filmed mostly on sound stages, but like a lot of the areas of the houses was from Orange, California.
Oh, nice.
Which is, yeah, nice little area. You guys ever been down to Orange there by Chapman University? Yeah, they got one of
What's
my
that
favorite
Cuban restaurant?
Felix's Continental Cafe. Yep.
Yeah, that place is so good.
If you're ever in Orange, go check out Felix's. Or just down the block is Haven. The last Haven that still exists is in Orange, California. So
They also have that black and white restaurant.
black and white restaurant.
It's like all fancy. It's like there's like the presidential room, and remember the napkins look like tuxedos.
Oh, no, that's in
the
Anaheim.
White House, or
The White House. That's in
White
Anaheim.
House.
Yeah, it's still Orange is pretty close.
County.
Orange is pretty close to Anaheim. But Orange also has an Earth Cafe now. Like there's a big central like circle area that's like super cool. But yeah, and then they filmed in Yosemite as well, which I'm assuming that's where they filmed the end scene where he like puts the Gorgonites on the boat.
That's what I would assume.
Yeah. Even when they're when Archer is looking at the computer and he sees the photo of the nature scene and he goes Gorgon. It's a picture of Yosemite.
Yeah. Well, this movie I believe was supposed to take place in like Ohio. So how did
It's gonna take them a long time to get there.
Yeah, how'd they get to Yosemite?
Even if they're in Orange, how are they still getting to Yosemite?
That's still really far. It's still like a 5 or 6 hour drive, like at least. So that's pretty funny. But so you guys want to guess what the critic and audience score is on Rotten Tomatoes?
I'll let Joe go first.
I'll do a critic of 33, audience of 57.
Okay.
I'll do a critic of 55 and an audience of 62.
All right. So critic was 48. Audience was 45. So like pretty right on the dot with each other.
Interesting.
Yeah. I want to say Ebert actually gave this a pretty good review, which is good. I feel like he was kind of hard to please in the 90s. So that was pretty cool. So screenplay, this was written by Ted Elliott and Terry Rozier. Now, what I want to mention them is because they have a lot of stuff under their belt between the two of them. The whole first Pirates of the Caribbean trilogy was written by them. Shrek, The Mask of Zorro. They wrote Aladdin, the animated movie.
What?
And more recently, Godzilla vs. Kong was something they wrote a screenplay for.
That's super cool.
Jeez.
Yeah, so they have some cool stuff under their belt there. Joe Dante directed this. You guys know that name, right?
Yeah, it's my cousin.
Yeah. Because first names.
That's Joe Con.
Yeah, Joe Con over here. No, Joe Dante's the one who directed Gremlins and Gremlins 2.
Nice.
He directed. Have you guys ever seen the movie The Burbs with Tom Hanks and Carrie Fisher?
No.
Nah.
And it also has the grandfather from The Luck of the Irish in it.
That
Luck
guy.
of the Irish.
Yeah, no, The Burbs is actually a really underrated movie. It's kind of a dark comedy. It's pretty good. And then he also directed Looney Tunes Back in Action, which I'm assuming is what killed his career.
I love that movie.
Oh man, that movie
Why
got
am I not surprised, Craig?
that movie got such bad reviews.
It's got my boy Brendan Fraser. Come on.
Oh, the phrase. So we have David Cross, who played Irwin. Most people know him as Tobias Funke from Arrested Development, but this guy's like all
He's
over
everywhere.
sketch comedy stuff.
Hey, Tobias Funke is just him. I mean, I gotta say, I've never seen him nude in a movie, so he clearly is never nude.
Yeah, he definitely blew himself.
Yep, he did.
And
he did in a Scary Movie too.
Yep. He drives that car that's an anus tart. Classic. So Dennis Leary, you said, also plays Gil Mars, the like tech billionaire. He plays Gwen Stacy's dad in the Amazing Spider-Man movies. He was in Demolition Man, which we've covered on this podcast. He was also in The Sandlot, which I don't think we've actually covered.
He's the father.
Yeah, I don't think we've covered this.
Or
in the
father-in-law. Or stepfather.
Have we covered it?
No, I would love to cover that. That's such a great movie.
Well, maybe that's what we'll do in like January once all the Christmas stuff is done.
Opening day for baseball.
When's opening day? I don't follow baseball.
April.
April. Okay, cool. Opening day, we'll do The Sandlot, and then we'll do The Sandlot 2, Sandier Lot.
No, we
and
should
then
do Sandlot and Angels in the Outfield.
Ooh, Angels in the Outfield would be a good one. I haven't seen that in forever. I used to love that
I haven't
movie.
seen that since like the OG days. So
Yeah,
it'd be
same.
interesting to
Me
see
too.
if it holds
That
up.
would be awesome. I love that. We mentioned Gregory Smith, who played Alan already and everything. He's in. I did think seeing he was in Harriet the Spy. That's kind of one I want to watch again because I remember liking that as a kid, but I also don't remember why I liked it as a kid. I just remember Rosie O'Donnell was in it. Like she was a thing back in the day. And then Kirsten Dunst, she plays Christy. We all know who Kirsten Dunst is.
Yes.
Good old Mary Jane.
More Spider-Man people.
More Spider-Man
Granted,
people.
her performance in this is basically Mary Jane.
Oh, yeah, 100%. Yes. Although, have you seen her recently? Like, she was in the Fargo TV show not that long ago, and she killed it in that.
Nice.
Like,
Yeah.
oh my gosh, was she amazing in that? She's become a good actor later in life. I feel like the earlier stuff was just like parts that were like whatever. Where I feel like she's really killing it now.
She was channeling her last name.
Dunce. Yep. So Jacob Smith plays a little brother. We talked about him. Phantom of the Megaplex.
Phantom of the Megaplex strikes again.
Thanks, Bry Guy. So Alan's dad is a guy named Kevin Dunn. I could not stop thinking about the Transformers when I see
Oh my
him.
God, that's what was popping in my head too.
I'm just like, oh, this guy. He plays the same character.
person.
Yeah, he plays the same
basically.
character and everything.
Well, also, same character from Jingle All the Way, Phil Hartman.
Yes, Phil Hartman plays a lot of the same character. You are right. He's great. I wanted to mention there's a guy named Robert Picardo. He played the tech guy that was in the clean room that was like telling them about the chip. He is the emergency medical hologram doctor from Star Trek Voyager for any of my
that's cool.
Voyager fans out there. I know there's only like 3 other Voyager fans out there, but
What else was he in? Because he looked familiar.
oh, he's in a million things. He's like a character actor. He's a character and he like small bit parts and tons of stuff.
Yeah, he looked familiar for sure.
Yeah, you've definitely seen him in some TV show.
Also, like the people who voiced the Commandos is crazy.
Well,
The
the
talent that
Commandos,
plays
it's
the
the Dirty Dozen, except for one of them, minus one of them.
Yeah, you got Jim Cummings.
Mm-hmm. Well, Jim
got
Cummings is the one who voiced the guy from the Dirty Dozen who passed away, I think.
Oh, okay. Then you got Ernest Borgnine. Don't know who Rance Howard is, but then you got Frank. I'm not going to try and pronounce his last name.
So Frank
But,
Langella, he is. This is what's funny. A tie-in here, right? Kind of. So Frank Langella is best known, not best known, but he kind of at the beginning of his career was Skeletor in the Masters of the Universe movie
that's
from
cool.
the 80s. And now he's playing kind of a He-Man character as Archer in this. Like, so I thought that was kind of a fun nod.
Well, also, I'm gonna see if you know who this is, Jordan. Joe, don't answer. Another Butch Meathook was voiced by Jim Brown. Do you know who Jim Brown is?
Isn't he one of the Dirty Dozen?
He's the doc that took Marty back to the future.
So, Jordan, you do not know who Jim Brown is.
No, I just know he's like.
He is
Was in
widely
that movie.
regarded as the greatest NFL running back of all time.
Oh, okay, cool.
He
Very cool.
played,
Yeah,
he
of course I
played
didn't know
for
that.
poetically the Browns.
Oh, that worked out. Nice. Very nice. Actually, the majority of the Gorgonites, too, were voiced by the cast of This is Spinal Tap. Actual Spinal Tap.
That's really cool.
I did see that in the credits.
Yeah, that was kind of fun. Like, so that was fun that they had the Dirty Dozen and then Spinal Tap in the same movie.
Also, it's really funny. The guy who played Joe, the truck driver.
yes.
His name is Dick Miller.
Mhm.
But his IMDb picture looks like he's Robert De Niro. He's got the
actually,
face going on.
if you look through his credits, I remember noticing there was something that I knew him from, but I didn't actually write it down because it was pretty
Terminator,
minor. Yes, that's what it was. Mhm.
Gremlins.
It was Terminator, I think, is the one that I recognized.
He was also in
He
the Burbs.
does look like Al Pacino. Or
Yeah.
not Al Pacino, Robert De Niro.
In Terminator, he plays the gun shop owner, I'm pretty sure.
the pawn shop. But like
Yes.
you mentioned Burbs, he's in Burbs.
Yep.
And he's in
There's a lot of
Gremlins.
people from Burbs in this one, the Burbs, yeah.
He reminded me of Joe from the Princess Diaries.
Oh my God, he's in a movie from
little
2007 called "The Tale of the Screaming Forehead."
Ooh.
That
the
might be
Tale of
something
the
we need to put on the
Screaming
list.
Forehead. Ooh la la.
And
All right,
he was it, and he voiced a character in the 2005 animated Justice League movie. And he was in Looney Tunes Back in Action.
Well, there you go. Speaking of comic book characters, I forgot to mention the mom, Alan's mom in this. She plays a character in Titans, the DC Universe TV show.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, she's someone in that too.
Was Kristen Dunst's character's mom just supposed to be drunk the whole time?
Yeah, she's supposed to be kind of like a lush.
She's like she was like walking into like the door frame and
well, do you blame her? She was
drunk. She was drunk and had
sleeping pills. It was pretty much like
you're not supposed to mix.
Yeah, it's pretty much like Roseanne Barr when she tweets racist stuff. It's like the same cocktail.
Oh, we didn't we also forgot to mention Jay Moore, who played.
Oh yes, Jay Moore was in this
toy exec.
Yeah, the toy exec. I don't know much about him.
He was a competing sports agent in Jerry Maguire.
Yes.
He's been in a bunch of like other rom-coms.
He's an SNL guy, I'm pretty sure.
I believe so as well. And then he had his own sports talk show on I think on Fox Radio for
was it called
years.
More Sports, but MOHR?
It was Jay Moore. It was just like Jay Moore. It was like,
they really missed an opportunity there with the Moore.
I really enjoyed his show. I listened to it like almost every day while I was working, and I called in a couple times too.
Wow. You got to talk to Mr. Moore?
Got to talk to Mr. Moore.
Dang. Little known fact, he's the father of From First to Last frontman and Skrillex, Sonny Moore.
Is that a joke?
Yeah, he's not. So moving to...
I was like, is that true?
Nope. Moving to the fun facts part of this podcast. What is facts? Baby, they're fun. They're fun. Oh, yeah. What is facts? Baby, they're fun. They're fun. Oh, yeah. So Joe Dante originally wanted the cast of Predator to voice the Commando Elite and have Arnold Schwarzenegger as Chip Hazard. Yeah, that would have been...
Tommy Lee Jones is good still.
Tommy Lee Jones is great, but
Tommy Lee Jones was better for the role.
I think so too, but having
too much talking for Arnold.
It is too much talking, but having like Carl Weathers, I think having
but,
like
I don't do a good Arnold, so
no, you don't. No, you don't do a good Arnold. All right. So
Carl Weathers would have been great for it though. Same with the body, Jesse Ventura.
Yes. Oh man, dude, that would have been a really cool move to get the cast of the Predator on this. So the murder of Phil Hartman before the premiere caused some minor changes before the release. So I think he might have like been in it a little bit more, and they kind of like tweaked it a tad just for some reason or another. I don't know if it was out of respect or if it was just kind of like they had reshoots they had to do, like what is that called, secondaries? Something where they like
sure, let's go with
shoot some stuff for the editing room and all that, and they couldn't do it.
Pickups.
Yes, I think that's what it is. So on making the movie, director Joe Dante recalled originally he was told to make an edgy picture for teenagers, or when the sponsor tie-ins came in, the new mandate was to soften it up as a kiddie movie. Too late as it turned out, and there are elements of both approaches in there. Just before release, it was purged of a lot of action moments. So it was kind of like they were like, hey, make this a hard PG-13. And then all the sponsors came in. And they're like, no, gear it towards kids. So it kind of just fell in this no man's land of everything, which is kind of a bummer.
Which is basically what we were saying, where it's listed PG-13, but it really shouldn't be.
No, it could.
I bet you that Dante guy really thought this was going to be his peak.
Oh my gosh. Waka waka waka.
Who wants to hear a funny
that was a good joke. That was a great joke. The music being played during the scene where they turn the Gwendy dolls into soldiers is the theme music from Bride of Frankenstein. So that's kind of fun. It's alive. I already mentioned the 5 cast members from the Dirty Dozen that are in this. There's lots of references to Gremlins in this. The Gizmo password is one of them. On Alan's desk, there's a gremlin skull. And then also in the dumpster where the Gorgonites are hiding, you can see a gremlin toy in there as well.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so Joe Dante kind of threw a bunch of gremlin references in there, which was cool. The Hasbro toy line of small soldiers outsold the movie.
Sold more than 5
Really?
$55 million.
Yeah, the profit or the
also, I forgot 55 million. 55.
Though, if I would have known as a kid, I would have loved to have an archer and a captain major, or a major, whatever his name is.
Major,
Captain Major.
Captain Major, Major Captain, Chip Hazard.
Yes, Chip Hazard.
So the other thing that is interesting here, I
Them Hazard boys.
this, damn Hazard boys.
Oh my god.
So the house that they're in at the very end, where like they're fighting them and everything, is supposed to be Alan's house, I guess.
Yeah.
That's the same house that's in Young Sheldon. Not a TV show I watch, but I thought that was interesting that that's the same house used both in this movie and that TV show.
Popular house.
That's so
Yeah.
interesting.
Isn't it? Sometimes they just pick the same houses.
Fascinating.
Oh, it's very fascinating. That's all my fun facts, though.
Those
So
are
I'm glad
fun.
you guys liked the movie.
Yeah,
I have a question
enjoyed
for
it.
you guys.
What's the question?
Well, while watching the movie, at one part I went, "Ha, Spice Girls, nice."
Yeah.
Oh, I tell you what, you know what I thought too?
I love when she's like, honey, I love this song.
I love this song. Well, it's
She's still in her robe and everything.
Oh man, yeah, that was pretty funny. I feel like though that was like, again, kind of like a morbid thing when you watch this, and I'm thinking, I watched Waco not that long ago, and they actually did psychological warfare where they got all these crazy speakers and were just blasting like metal music, trying to make them go insane. And I'm like, the military kind of and FBI and stuff does this. So I know it's funny because
Is there a documentary or a movie on Waco that you watched?
it's a TV show, Waco. Go check it out. I think it's still on Netflix. It's really good. It's also
because I've been really into the this is called Case File, this podcast, and I've listened to a lot of that. So.
No, dude, go watch this. It's like super interesting, but also very, very sad. It's the whole thing. It'll infuriate you. You will be mad by the end of it about how our law enforcement agencies handle things and can just get away with anything.
Yep.
But it's a great dramatization of actual events. So
I'll
check it out. Yeah, it's pretty good. It also has the Rory Culkin in it.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
I did have a question for you guys. Something I wrote down actually. So at the end of this movie, what's his name? Dennis Leary comes back and he's like to assess the situation, gives them all checks, for the damages and basically for them to forget about it. We never got an idea of what those checks amounts were.
I know it.
So my question is, how much would that check need to be in order for you to forget what had happened?
So the thing is Alan's dad is like, my house is destroyed. We need a new
His
house.
house was destroyed. Did you see the roof was like collapsing down on it?
So it's a whole brand new house you would have to buy. So I imagine
Well, not necessarily, because he's theoretically going to like get the insurance payout for that.
No.
Yeah, but the insurance is going to go after him.
Okay.
Leary dude.
All right, so I mean, so this is late 90s, so it's got to be, you think, 500,000. If
I was going to say at least 500,000 on there to make him just be like, "Yep, we're good, we're clear."
I was thinking like $1 million each.
Well, if Blank Check has taught us anything, you can get a really nice house and tons of other stuff for
I'm
$1
more
million.
curious to figure out what the truck driver Joe got to get going. I was all like,
I think he only got like 100,000.
So again, back to my question.
I was seeing like 50,000.
Again, back to my question. How much would that check need to be for you to forget about
if we're
everything?
talking today,
Today,
in today's
we're-
money.
Let's say this
We're ta-
happened today. How much would that
at
check
lea-
need to be?
at least 50 million plus when you think about what you could sue them for.
No, I would say if they gave me $1 million, I'd be like, "Yep, we're good," because then you don't have to deal with any of the.
I would need at least
lawsuit.
I would need at least 10 to not have to deal with like the court stuff. But like if you think about what people like, how much you can sue people for something that traumatic,
Yeah,
I
but
think
Krager,
that
they
you're
always
talking.
say when you sue someone, it's never the person who makes out with the money; it's the lawyers.
Well, the lawyers
I know,
mainly
that's
get
what-
30%. The person still gets.
Yeah, but the
That's
person
why,
then pays.
that's why I said 10 million would be my basement.
I just think, to be honest, if they gave me like 700,000, I'd be happy. I'm
are
an
just
easy buy
so-
off. I'm an easy buy off.
I'm like
You
Krager.
can't even buy like
You could buy a
nice
brand new
phone.
house for that.
Not
buy
a
Not as
great
nice as
one.
that one.
Oh,
Yeah,
nice
not
and
as
orange.
that one.
Out here in Texas, I could buy a
We're
way
talking-
nicer
we're
house than
This
talking
that.
in
movie wasn't made
California.
in Texas.
No, but this movie was set in Ohio. I can find a really nice
That
house in
is from
Ohio.
Orange. I guarantee you, the house is worth more than $700,000 right
But you're
now.
thinking of where the house is in real life, not where the house is in the premise of the movie. If we were in Ohio, you can get a really nice house for $700,000.
Doesn't mean I'm not going to try and get more and move to a better state than fucking Ohio.
Ohio's nice. I like Cleveland.
No, fuck Ohio.
Rock and Roll Hall of Fame,
nice.
bro.
It's nice if you're a meth head.
Oh man, I'd rather be depressed about my football team in California than in Ohio.
Yeah, no, I would realistically take less than what you guys are talking about because
No
I
way.
just want to be done with it. I'd be like, just make it so I could buy my house back and my stuff, and I'm good.
I think 200 million would be more realistic for nowadays.
That
if you're
is
going
an
to take the low
insane
end.
amount.
That's
of
an
money,
insane amount of money, dude. That's like Leonardo DiCaprio's net worth. Like, come on.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I meant 2 million. Did I put 100?
I do agree with
I meant
Krager.
just
I
2
wouldn't
million.
even look at the check if it was under $1 million.
I would
I
say,
just say it up. Add another zero and another comma.
Yeah, well, I mean, it sounds like he could have done that. This is like the Bezos of his time, so that probably wouldn't be unheard of.
You gotta take that thing, wipe your butt with it, and give it back, and say, "Thank you. I did have an itchy butt."
Here's the other thing that was confusing to me, or not confusing, but something that I was like, I wonder. Why was it so easy for him to get military grade chips?
I know, right? Like you just request it, and they're just like, "Yeah, no questions asked. Here you go."
Here you go. We're shipping
because
these to you.
those-
There's
because
no
those
price
chips-
or anything on them.
Those chips are technically a failed project because the military said they didn't want them anymore. So that's why those chips probably got put onto
So they're just giving them away for free?
Well, no, because he now is an employee of that company. So he said, use our database, grab whatever you need from our warehouse. And that was in the warehouse.
Did you also think it was?
X1000.
Did you also think it was kind of weird? He only bought 1,000 of them. So what
He
they're
bought
telling
500. He bought 500,000.
500,000. Still, that is not a lot for a national toy distribution line. Like
Why?
for
There's
something
only-
that's supposed to be like the
Why?
GI Joe.
There's got to be only like 500,000 kids in the world in the United
That's
States.
it. Yeah,
right?
that's why Santa can get through the whole world pretty quickly.
Not
Exactly.
to mention, it was an expensive toy. In the,
Yeah,
like, this movie
80
came out in the
bucks?
90s and it was $80 in the 90s. That's
Dude,
PlayStation games weren't even that much.
No.
PlayStation 2 games weren't that much.
no
Video
way.
games today aren't even that much.
No,
No,
dude.
I
Well, video
definitely don't
games.
think.
What's
back in
surprising is video
98, I
games
don't
cost more back then than they do now, which is kind of funny.
Back in '98, I don't think I would have been able to get that as a toy.
No,
I don't
me
think so
neither.
either. That toy is expensive.
That was a real expensive toy. Yeah, there's no way. Yeah, that's crazy. But yeah, I thought it was kind of low for a national like distribution chain and everything to be like, oh, we want a chicken in every pot and a chip hazard in every hand. You know, like that's way too little.
Everything else is just a toy.
It's just a toy. Yep.
That should be the slogan for a sex toy. I digress.
The Pocket Commando. Everything else is just a toy. So that's Small Soldiers. That was fun. I liked it.
I just thought of something really good.
What's up?
You know how in like sporting, like football and stuff like that, you know how they have like the end zones and lines painted and stuff like that. Yeah, those workers digress.
Those workers digress.
Oh my gosh. I didn't get it at first, and that is so dumb.
I just thought of it when I said digress at first. I'm like, that sounds like digress.
Oh my
joke.
gosh. I
My
wish
mind-
I was gonna
my
say
mind
I wish
works
I
weird
could
ways,
see
man.
your brain.
It is a weird thing. I'll tell you
It's just
that.
a monkey like hitting a hammer on like a piece of paper.
Come on, man.
It's got the
There's just, like,
symbols.
Yeah, and then pizza flashes like on the monitor, and you just see its head turn around. And it just keeps hitting and ending.
It reminds me of SpongeBob where he's like, what's his name?
Yeah.
I forgot his name. Oh man, that's great stuff. On that
Please
note,
don't. I have 2 kids.
On that note,
jeez.
I have some plugs for you. Go to check us out on wreckmypodcast.com. You can find our Redbubble store, our Instagram, our YouTube, also our Patreon, where you can become a patron of ours for just $1 a month. You can get an exclusive episode every month, as well as be entered into a raffle. Also, get some cool stuff and rewards for whatever tier you pick. Hey, that's the show. That's it. Go giving us a rating or a review, too. Those are cool. If you give us 55-star reviews, we'll have 55-star reviews. So go do that. That will be awesome.
Yeah.
So, guys, thanks for being on. This was a fun one. This was a blast from the past that people didn't even know existed, it sounds like. So that's
Loved
kind of
Small Soldiers.
Yes. Tune in next week for our next movie we're going to cover, Slightly Larger Soldiers. We'll see y'all next week.
Mid-sized soldiers.
Mid-sized soldiers.
I like
You know
another
what?
duo.
You know what? Kidnapper's favorite shoes are white Vans.
Wreck My Podcast. Wreck My Podcast.
Jeez, bags.
Dude, what is with these jokes? The digress one was so good.
I thought so too. I said digress. I'm like, that sounds like dyed grass.
I didn't get it at
I
first
got a
because
joke.
It was the connection was so thin. I didn't see it at first.
Hey, my mind connects very thin things, I guess.
Yes,
Okay.
it does.
Don't look in his pants.
Rude.
I was going to say, he's like, my mind connects very thin things, one of which being the 3 hairs on my head. Okay, so...
Aw, it's at least 5.
Not yet.
Yeah, me and Craig just watched it this weekend.
I still need to see it.
It's good. We both liked
It's
it.
a good one.
Kyle
Joe-
Witten said it was the best Marvel movie.
I don't know about that.
Kyle, see, I had done a good job of like not hyping it up to my head, and then Kyle said that, which I think made me like a little less because that one statement by Kyle overhyped it a little bit to me. It's definitely it's good. It's
good.
Better.
It's
It's better than
different.
Captain Marvel.
Yeah, it was definitely different. That was nice. So
Yeah, but Captain Marvel had Goose. How can you say no to a Florkin?
I mean, this one though has like a lot of cool creatures in it too.
Yeah. Plus
Yeah,
it
but
has
are any of them a cat.
Plus it has that one
no.
funny Asian dude who was like the DJ at the fight club.
Oh, the guy who plays John. I forget his real name though.
Yeah,
He's
all I
funny,
know is
yeah.
all I know is like, hey, that person was in Crazy Rich Asians. That
Yep.
person was in Crazy Rich Asians.
Well, I think Aquafina was like the best part of the whole movie. She
Oh,
was
yeah,
like
she was
killing
funny.
it.
Oh, I loved Wong
The water?
and Abomination.
Yeah, the water, Joe. we had Dasani and Aquafina starting this movie.
So that's where that water comes from.
Yep,
Oh,
exactly.
Joe, did you watch Tiger King?
Small Soldiers? Yes, I did.
It actually is quite beneficial, the fact that I work with Joe a closing shift Sunday nights, because every Sunday night I'm always like, hey, Joe, don't forget we have to watch this tomorrow. I was like, oh, crap, I haven't watched it yet. And then as we're getting into our cars, I'm like, Joe, what are you doing when you get home? He's like, watching the movie.
Yep, that's good. That's good. It's good. It's planned out that way. All right, I'm going to bring
Cool.
us right into this one.
Dun 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 dun. Dun 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 dun.
Terminator.
Dun 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 dun.
Small Terminators.
Wreck My Podcast.